YouTube. What's going on? Sorry for the delay. We are waiting for our
Hello, friends.
Instagram to be present.
Hello.
But well, it's Monday night. You know, we're finna do this reality recap. Oh, technical difficulties. Child, is the microphone on? Because, baby, we don't need no more problems, okay? All right.
Hello.
Working in both places. Amen. Praise God.
Hello, one and all. Forgive this setup. It's a little wonky, a little sideways. Is what it is.
Listen, we in the wrong.
What is this gonna get? Hello, friends. We're back. We're Black and Curious. I'm Kandrin.
What's up? It's Deja. Welcome back. It's Monday night. Reality recap time.
Yes.
Before we get into the mess, what are you having? What's your cocktail of choice?
I am doing a what is that thing called? The margarita, Flybird margarita mix with the 21 Seeds tequila in it.
We almost have a similar drink happening. I have a pineapple margarita situation happening, more like a white wine spritzer, because it's a little bit of pineapple juice, a little bit of tequila, a little dash of Sauvignon Blanc. So we're just experimenting in the kitchen.
Cool,
all right,
cool. Let's
get on to the mess, shall we? Pop culture time. First story out of the gate. The Caribbean darling, our fave, Rihanna, is having a baby.
Yes, she is.
Her second one.
I'm
like, dang, girl.
I'm like, watching the Super Bowl last night, I was just like, oh yeah, she absolutely is. Like she looks
They
great.
say you'd be super fertile after, having had the first child, so it happens.
Maybe she just wants kids close together. That's possible too.
Maybe.
But anyways, good for her. Congrats to her. I did hope for more with the Super Bowl show, but she did the best she could with being fully pregnant.
Yeah, I will say that at first I was like, this is boring. This is not really giving. But then once they really got the imaging together, then I was like, oh, mama is expecting no problem.
Yeah.
Like, relax. We don't need you to be doing 10,000 things. I was scared enough as it was that she was up 1,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
But
whatever. I've seen her. She did. And I've seen her live before, and she puts on a hell of a show. So I was expecting.
I was like, what's happening?
I was expecting the most. And, she did what she could. She's pregnant.
Listen, she pulled what was that, the AMAs or something like that, where Beyonce was pregnant with the twins and she was up there performing with that big old belly. Bless you.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, she was. She really was. But Rihanna is a different kind of performer. She's very more like chill. I think of Rihanna as a performer more as like a rapper than a singer.
I can see that.
If you look at it with that perspective, it's like, she was only going to give you a limited amount of steps, and then those got even more limited.
I'm saying. Not one lie told. So, all right, let's move on to the next story. So the next one, of all the baby news this week, Notori Naughton, formerly of 3LW and call it Ghost Power. Thank you. Mm-hmm. She's expecting. So she's on the cover of People magazine, or she has an insert in People magazine with her belly bump and her husband. I thought they looked really cute. And this photo with her in the chartreuse and these chartreuse heels, chef's kiss. She looks adorable.
She does. She looks great.
All right.
What's next?
Next story is Angie and JT. What's the tea?
It was just such a good interview. JT she's relaxed because sometimes, she's clearly the more skilled rapper to me, in my opinion. I think most people would agree. But she is more reserved, and she doesn't do a lot of press. She doesn't she can do without all of the rah-rah. She looks at this as very much like a job. I show up, I do my performance, I go home. And it was really cool to see her just relaxed and, somewhere she wanted to be. apparently she reached out to Angie to do this podcast, like slid in her DMs, like, hey, I want to do your show. And yeah, so it just felt like you could just tell the difference of her doing something on her own terms versus, and with somebody like she trusted versus, you know, sometimes like the contentious energy or the like, I just don't want to be here type of energy as she can have sometimes. So I really, really enjoyed the interview. She was very insightful and it was just really good. I enjoyed it.
Well, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. Okay, so for this next clip, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute so that way you can actually hear the controversy of this. Lord, people be people, and that's really what I'm going to say. It'll be introduced to you. How about that? Because it is a mess. So let me set us up real quick.
She has for all of her fellow Christians that are going to see Beyonce. Let's get into it.
Any of you who are going to Beyonce's concert, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. How dare you call yourself a Christian? I don't care what pastor you got that is okay with it. I don't care what pastor you got that think it's cool. I don't care what pastor you got that's singing along to their song. Cause they
and this clip that is playing on YouTube.
You want some clout?
Okay, Pastor. What's going on? Y'all know how I be telling y'all that the internet is forever. So apparently some tweets that she made in 2012 and 2014 have resurfaced.
And like, this is ridiculous.
In 2014, she tweeted, got a chance to catch the Jay-Z and Beyonce concert and it was amazing. In 2012, she tweeted a few gospel tunes because we love Jesus. Some Beyonce hits because we stands for that beat, and some reggae because we from the ROC rock, okay? Oh, so you know the pastor had to say something after that, right? She said, I used to love Beyonce and Jay-Z, and I was definitely not saved and hated the church. I also loved having sex before marriage, drinking, going to the club, busting a beast's head wide open if they played with me, and a host of other ungodly things. Ungodly. Okay, because that sounds like a good ass time. I'm sorry. She went further to say, haven't compromised my relationship with God by bowing down to Beyonce since. Find y'all somebody else to play with. I have the backing of the Lord. Your idols will drop dead, thus saith the Lord.
Like, what is going on?
Can't you be Christian and go see Beyonce, baby? Give me your thoughts in the comments. Listen, the only reason why I'm not going is because, you know, I'm poor. And also, if I had that type of money, honey, I'm buying eggs.
Like the occult.
Expensive.
You did. AAL means something.
But wait. There's more.
Are you a Christian going to Beyonce's concert?
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. How dare you?
Mind you, let the record show. That aside, this woman is currently on Facebook airing out personal and private details of former congregants. This is y'all prophet? These are your leaders in Christ? This is nasty business. This is nasty work. Oh my God. They in the comments telling her, girl, you took it too far. You doing way too much. And she's talking about something. I know way too much about everybody. The post is staying up.
And for me, it's just
weaponizing like, people's abuse, people's really, trauma, people's experiences to dish it with you and confidence. As a leader, as a prophetess, as a self-appointed prophet, this is what y'all do in the church. When you think about the many people that go to church on Sundays, confiding in these ministers, these pastors, these spiritual leaders, looking for, you know, spiritual guidance, looking for a safe haven, for you to in turn weaponize stuff that people share with you in confidence in private, simply out of disagreements over Beyonce tickets.
I didn't love the Lord.
You have a responsibility as a leader.
I was drinking and smoking.
As somebody with a platform. And this, you do not deserve to be doing the work that you're doing. It's not even work for real. It's all controversy. It's all a show. This is disgusting.
And this is why I stopped attending church.
What happened to the coming?
Because baby, ain't no hate like Christian love.
A show that is like heavily.
Who going to see Beyonce?
Politics in the church and whatnot. But that type of foolery really gets under my skin, and I hate it.
I mean, really, and that's what it is. Murray says, "Child, woman of God, please. We are going to see Beyonce," and that's really what it is. And if you're waitlisted, just say that. I feel like I've seen people say that on Twitter as well. So if you're waitlisted, just say that.
Girl, I mean, it's really just a lie, and I'm over it. So let's get into the mess, shall we? Actually, since we only have the Housewives of New Jersey, let's do the girls that own first.
Okay.
And let's do Love and Marriage DC. We don't ever do them first. Let's do that this week.
All right. That's fine. I still don't know anybody's name on Ready to Love. I should take notes.
So
maybe next time.
I don't really know them either, which is why I was like, we can go ahead and we'll get to them when we get there. So here's the thing. I like Winter and I like Ashley. And I like them for separate reasons, obviously. You know, like everybody's energy is different. But the thing that's frustrating for me in watching this week's episode was basically like Ashley is not owning that you started this feud between you and Winter, and now that she is continuing to carry it on and saying little slick commentary here, there, and everywhere, like now you're mad and you don't want to have anything to do with her and you want to write her off and don't take her apologies and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you've never apologized for starting the drama from the start. Like there's never been, neither in their confessionals, their interviews, or at the reunion where she even owned that she could have changed how she spoke to her from the start when she was questioning her about her relationship and not knowing that her husband was a fraud and all sorts of stuff.
Okay. Yes.
And so Winter is coming from that place, like, you have all these issues with me, but like I have apologized to you numerous times over. You've yet to own or apologize for any of your own doing. Instead, you say, oh, I do X, Y, and Z because you're always talking about me. Oh, I've said X, Y, and Z because you're always da-da-da-da. And I'm like, it don't work that way. If you want somebody to stop having opinions about you, then you need to do the same. Much as I like Ashley, like it's giving righteous indignation, and I don't like it.
Okay, sure. I don't have any feelings about these people, honestly. Winter gets on my nerves, and yeah, you might be right. Ashley is sort of in the wrong.
Everybody in the wrong. It's not just Winter, and that's my point.
Oh yeah, I guess I can see that. But kind of tying into, and we have an upcoming conversation about this, tying into like Ashley and her opinions. She and her husband, they just seem overly opinionated, period. And I don't know if it's their intention, but they do come across as very judgmental.
Extremely.
Yeah, I'm honestly,
and it's offensive.
If I wasn't reviewing it, I wouldn't watch it. That's just me. I don't like it. I don't care for this cast. I don't care. I'm not interested that much, but we review it, so I watch it. But yeah, she comes across as judgmental. She really does. And I kind of want her to do better about that.
I think that as the seasons progress, my hope is that she'll see that in herself and it'll be changed. And she doesn't strike me as someone who's going to carry forth this type of energy and not, like call it out in other people, but then not correct it in yourself. Like, I don't see that Ashley would do that based on the character that we've been presented with from season 1 to season 2. But
sure,
I don't know.
I mean, like I said, I know she, she's been through a lot. She has a lot to say about a lot of things, but I just don't find her all that endearing, honestly. I don't find any of them all that endearing. I don't find this show endearing at all. It just feels like, and listen, I enjoy a Carlos King production, but it feels like trying to make like that lightning in a bottle strike twice. And I think Love and Marriage Huntsville was something that was so specific. And it's trying to replicate that. And it's not, these people aren't interesting. Yikes. Yeah. So anyways, we can talk about, like I said, we have an upcoming conversation. So Jamie and Arena, well, it was Ashley and Quick that invited Jamie and Arena to come out for like a couple double date and then kind of like judge them about their parenting of Jamie Jr., little Jamie, or Jamie the Fourth. And they just judged them, and like it came across, I understood like the concern because Ashley had her own mental health problems or struggles and, has had to, has attempted suicide and like all of those things. So I get it, but it still came across as very like judgmental of you need to do this better. And so to Jamie's point, like you don't have adult children. You don't have adult children who have giving you problems from day one. And I agree. I'm the first one to say I think Jamie is harsh, very harsh. And I think his approach is wrong. And so I don't have a problem with saying that Ashley is like, well, I don't say his approach is wrong. I think his approach is harsh. And so from Ashley's perspective, as somebody who has endured this type of behavior from a parent as a child, I respect what she's saying, but I have to draw the line at them kind of being like, you're doing it wrong. And it's just like, you know.
But are you? Because at the end of the day, like, I could see, my thing is this, I could totally accept them having their opinions and, you know, offering like ways to be gentler with little Jamie. If they too had an adult son and he had his own, you know, troubles.
Yeah. The situation has to be kind of one for one to be able to have a strong opinion about this, and it's not. They have
and it's always crazy to watch. Like, they just have strong opinions. I think you said
very strong opinions. They have
strong opinions about everything, and it's easy to be offensive to other people. And the thing that I've already stated basically that I'm lost on is just like you be offensive. They tells you that you're offensive, and then you double down on it. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. So. To that end, I think they should do better.
Agreed. We'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. So the ambush with Lil Jamie, we kind of see the start of that, but we haven't gotten all the way into it. So we're going to see how that goes. So the sister invited Lil Jamie and the parents to the house to like have a ponderosa, and
shout out to Jackie Christie. Oh, that come on tonight.
That's Why Wise is back. We're going to see if I can hang in there because the last season I could not.
Girl, I don't know what happened last season. I think I watched about 3 episodes. We might have talked about it, and then like I never went back.
I watched 5 and then
things to watch.
I think I may have watched 5 or 6, and then I needed space on my DVR, and I was like, this can go.
We're going to try. We're going to try. I don't know if it's going to make it. This might happen like it did last year. Yeah, I want to say we skipped them because we started watching Beverly Hills because that had came back. Around the same time.
Cool. Well, we're kind of hard pressed for shows because these own shows are not really giving, if we're being honest. So maybe now is a good time to dip back into Basketball Wives. And Housewives of Potomac is about to be over, so we only have
Housewives of Potomac is over.
Well, we have 3 weeks for
reunion, but that's it. I don't even know that. Like, my thing is like after the debacle, the foolishness that we done found out in the last 2 weeks. I don't know what else you gonna tell us, Robin and Juan.
Yeah.
And then like all the controversy that's happening right now up there at Coppin State with him and his assistant or the head coaches and foolishness. I have not really dug into the news about that. If y'all are interested in it, then I will. You know, I'll see what I can find, talk to my people that live up there and see what I can find out. But yeah. And also when I say I'm gonna talk to my people, does not mean that these people are like closely affiliated. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, well, the story basically is that his head coach was canoodling with one of the students, I think, and he knew about it and did nothing to correct the situation. And then the student, or no, it was like a catfish. It wasn't even the student. It was the student trying to catfish or something, the head coach. And then the student tries to like blackmail the coach, I think, or something like that. And then, yeah, it was a lot of moving pieces. And,
Child, Kendra got more to the story than I do, and I'm not far from him.
I think there was some exchange of suggestive, provocative photos or something, and so the student tried to blackmail the coach, and then the coach was like, had to come clean or whatever. So, and then Juan kind of knew all this was going on and didn't say anything. So that's where his involvement is. Not that he did anything improper himself, but he knew that somebody on his staff was doing something improper and didn't correct.
And didn't do anything about it. I mean, it's giving like, what's that show? Queen Sugar. It's giving Queen Sugar.
Okay.
Like, I'm just saying, like with the basketball player husband that was out here philandering and carrying on, and it was all that drama. That's what it's giving me. It's very storyline. Even if it is real, it is very like conveniently storyline. So
definitely. So we're gonna see what happens on the reunion. This is hilarious. So I'm looking on my iPad at the OWN website to try to refresh my memory, and they actually have. Sorry about the fingerprints. They have actually blacked out of the people who have been eliminated.
They ain't have to do that. That is so shady. Oh, girl, you ain't have to do that to them people. That is terrible.
That is funny to me. I am amused. I am so amused by that. My God. It's helping me, honestly, because I don't be remembering who these people are. Okay, so you want to move on to Ready to Love?
Girl, I don't even remember what happened. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
It was forgettable.
Very.
So forgettable. I feel
I'm
like
looking, I'm looking at the faces. That's how come I can remember what's happening. But if I wasn't looking at the faces, I wouldn't have a clue.
I know Sue and Dimples kissed. They had a kiss. Did. It was awkward.
A little bit.
Dimples gives me, like last week I said that it might be like his very like masculine, like military, like background, like militant type of energy.
And he's a corporate security officer, so he's probably real, you know.
I've been saying like he's just stiff in general, but like I almost wonder if he's like on the spectrum. Like I said, I almost wonder if he is on the spectrum.
Oh, I'm not going to give him that. I think he just has a serious profession and he's a serious type of person. I think that's why him and Sue-Ann get along, because they understand being serious. And he doesn't take the rest of these people seriously. So he's like, I'm not even going to deign to give you my time. I'm only going to bother to talk to people who I feel are intellectually compatible with me. That's what it gives me.
Touche. I have met them. I had a friend tell me that years ago. We went off to college and I was like, N-word, are you crazy?
Yeah. Because Johnny, when they had a meetup, he was like, you know, he was very kind of rude to her, almost like I can't be bothered to even talk to you. Like you're beneath me type of energy.
And he did give her that. But my thing too was like, I would just tell her flat out, like, I'm not interested in that way. I think that we are like a mismatch, considering that where you are and your station in life. Because that's really what he said in the confessionals, but instead he just gave her like stale white bread toast. Like, come on.
Absolutely. And then speaking of Jonique, she finally has I feel like a good connection. Hi, Silva. A good connection with Tony, but Tony got all the connections, so I don't really know.
Tony is working my nerves because he's really mad at the pretty dark-skinned girl. I forgot her name. What's her name? Look at the thing.
Pretty dark. I mean, there's a few brown-skinned girls. Which one are you talking about?
It's not Sue-Ann. It's the other one. Oh my god, I don't remember her name.
I'm looking.
She has similar hair to Sue-Ann.
Cynthia?
No. Because Cynthia's hair is like collarbone. The Sue-Ann and her got hair down their back.
Oh, Marcia?
Ain't Marcia the one that looked like Keisha Cole?
No. She does look like Keisha Cole.
The dark skin.
Is Corvea still around? Corvea's not still around.
No, she's gone.
Well, they didn't black her out on the site.
Oh my god. Maybe it's a trick, a plot twist. Maybe they're gonna bring her back.
Well, they did bring somebody back. They brought back Andre.
Child, they shouldn't have brought his ass back. They could have left him where the fuck he was at.
And
like, why did he came up there with that damn ponytail puff in the front of his head? I'm like, brother, what is happening? What is happening?
Yeah, so now that has Cynthia's head spinning back, because she was back with Anthony. She was over there moving on to Anthony, and now she's, her head is swinging back. And there's a couple that their heads are swinging back. But he was like really agitated that one of these women, who was it, didn't check on him when he had COVID?
The one that likes Mark Anthony.
Mercedes, the flight attendant?
Yeah.
Okay. He was like really annoyed that she was like, she didn't check on him. It's like, we didn't even have that big of a connection for me to be checking on you like that. Like the people who were connected to you. Like, this is a process. You were out of it, so I moved on. Like, what do you want me to do?
Like, you ain't dead.
You're not dead. Like, you all right. You back. So
we don't know each other for real, brother. And like the thing about it, you giving me grief about this, but clearly I won't check it for you like that. So like that's what you found out in the process. That's what you're supposed to find out. And we moving along. Like that's what we here for. Like I'm not interested in you. Clearly, as soon as Mark Anthony stepped on the scene, she won't check it for that man. With his crazy hairstyles. Like what is happening?
Mark Anthony is Not ready for love. Mark Anthony seems like he still got the streets hot to me. I don't know.
I'm saying Mark Anthony is for the streets. I don't imagine that he wants to. He just wants
to be. He's 34.
Yeah, but it's also giving like exposure. He want to be on this show. Like the people in DC, the first DC season, everybody was an actor of some sort.
He's 24. He lives in Miami. He might as well be. I mean, 34 in Miami is like 26. So he's still in the streets. Let's move on.
Girl,
I like Cynthia. I like her.
She's like her, but she is very emotional.
She's very clear though about what she wants and like what she's gonna take and what like she seems like she has clarity around what it is.
Up and down.
I like that about her. Who else we got?
I don't remember these people's names. But so back to the top when we was talking about Tony. Tony's getting on my nerves because basically now he's like checking for these other people because he wants to make the other girl that you never found her name for me. He wants to make her mad.
I mean, I have all the names so here. Beautiful. I just don't know who you're talking about.
I don't freaking remember her name. She is beautiful. I can't look it up because like my phone and all the stuff.
Okay, we got Jeffrey. We have Marcia, Mercedes, Morgan. Is it Morgan? Morgan, the only one left. Morgan, Sue-Ann, and Cynthia.
Is Morgan brown skin?
Jonique. I feel like they're all on the brown spectrum.
Put the iPad to the screen.
Put the iPad up. Let me see. Wait a minute.
I feel that's so old, but whatever. I'm on the road to 40, okay? Hold on.
In the black dress.
Yes, that's Morgan. Okay, I never knew her name. That's terrible. But I think she is beautiful. This is no shade. Like I have been saying since the beginning that she is so stunning to me. Anyway, so he's just annoying to me. Like Morgan has expressed that she has had like trust issues in relationships and like people where she's never really felt love and never really been in love because the relationships that she's been in, she's never felt safe to do so because men play these games. And then here comes Tony like, oh, I'm not like that. I wouldn't do that to you. Rah, rah, rah. He didn't literally say these words. I'm just kind of paraphrasing, right?
Tony is lying.
But like, he's doing the same thing that she has stated has been, like an issue for her. So it's like, my man, like, come on, pick a side, pick a lane, pick a place.
Like, also, the double date with Tony, who all was there? Tony and Jeffrey and Jonique and Mark Anthony, I think. So here's the thing. I feel like, because that was
I had to think about it. I'm like, who?
It was like Jonique was just way too real for Mark Anthony. Like she was just too real. And it was funny because
they are more like they should be in the same sandbox.
Okay. Well, to me, it was really interesting seeing that scene because it's like the proof positive that there's a lid for every pot because exactly the things that were turning Mark Anthony, I think it was Mark Anthony, that were turning him kind of off and kind of like he was like, ew, was like
right. Tony was very much like
Tony was like, ooh, give me more. And like all of a sudden he's interested in Jonique and she hadn't had any real connections. So
it's shocking that now all of a sudden, but I mean, it's still a lot of people. So we're going to see the couples kind of change around. I feel like
I don't think she makes it to the end, but I'm glad to see people like expressing interest in her because I like her and I like that she's just real. Yeah. And she seems like I'm not getting ready to play a game with you. I'm not getting ready to be somebody I'm not or try to be somebody I'm not. This is what it is. This is who I am.
Get that with me, baby.
Period.
That's what she said. You ain't finna get that with me, baby.
I enjoy a person
the thing
like that.
I found interesting though is freaking Lyndon and Morgan. Lyndon is like the club party promoter guy.
Yes. Also and 33. He's 33 and a bar manager. 33 and a bar manager in Miami years is like 25. 4 or 5.
I mean,
throwing back.
So, but him and Morgan are like connecting. And so it makes me wonder,
he's 38.
Like, okay, Morgan, are you ready to love? if you're seeing all the things, like you're getting check marks from this person, like, are you sure you're ready? Because that he gives me old patterning. That's not a word. Old patterns.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with you, but say more about that, because girl, I don't.
Whoo, child. Listen, I've not ate anything, and I'm about halfway through this class. Okay, but
yeah, yours was full. Mine was halfway. So go ahead.
It's giving like old patterns in terms of, like, she said that she's never been in love. She's never been in a situation where she's had anyone that made it safe for her to feel like she could be in love and be trustworthy of the person. And like now you're connecting with this other person, and it could be strategy just to keep yourself on the show. But I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I will say, bar none, to me, this cast of women is beautiful. I don't know where they drafted the last cast of women, but I was like, why are these wigs doing this? What happened? Listen, when I look at these women, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm used to seeing in Miami. And granted, I move in certain, I don't move in circles, but I move in certain spaces in Miami, and I've been here for long enough that like the people that I know look like these women. Not like whatever they had last season with those
Camden's people is out here giving the educated and beautiful, not educatedly, Jesus, that's not a word, but educated and beautiful.
And I'm just saying, they, you know, even youthful, even when they're on the older side of life. Like one of my friends, my good friends, is she's in her like early 40s, and like we would go out and get carded, the two of us together. We would always get carded. Just like, girl, we are so old. Like, what do you mean you need to see an ID?
Hello. Like, so, baby, I'm good and grown.
This is what I'm used to seeing. Like, this is who I'm around. So, like, these women are, yes, I approve this Miami message of these women. I'm pointing to my iPad. I approve this crop of Miami women. Not the last one. Not the last one. Even though I think that this show is boring, but I think it's because the men are boring this season. Like, last season, I thought the women were boring. This one, I think the men are boring. So
it's just giving boring in general. I feel like the only season that I kind of really enjoyed was like the last season was Joy's season, Joy and Clifton. And I'll even say the previous DC cast was good because you had Cornelius and crazy ass Camille.
Yeah, I think the magic ended for me, anyways. The magic ended with really Houston. They had 2 seasons in Atlanta, 2 seasons in Houston. So they're doing 2 seasons in every place. So they had 2 seasons in Atlanta.
They're going to Dallas next.
Well, I hope they do 2 seasons there too. Hopefully, you know.
Like, husband, you better not be on there.
But after the just after the Houston Last Resort during COVID season, I was kind of like, okay. Like, nothing else really tickled my fancy. But again, I felt like those people were equally matched. And I feel like sometimes maybe they're like doing 2 seasons in places that only need 1 because they're not finding enough attractive or compatible people to make the season worth watching. And I feel like initially they had more of that. Hi, Black Love Matters. So anyways,
what up?
We can move on. You want to do Real Housewives of New Jersey right quick? I didn't watch the whole thing, but we can do it right quick.
So the thing that I'll say straight out of the gate, now having some extra context, shout out to Carlos King and Kingdom Reign Entertainment. Before I watched today or this week's episode, I did catch the conversation between Teresa, Carlos, and Teresa's podcast partner. Melissa, that's her name. And Carlos basically confirmed that all these time, Teresa has been saying that Melissa was vying to get on the show and that she was reaching out to producers. She never said who the producers were or any of the sort. And so Carlos basically came forward and was like, yeah, she was reaching out to me and sending me information and like telling me all this back end stuff because she was trying to get on the show. And so like,
let's put a pin in that just for 1 second and give a bit of context. So Carlos King, Kingdom Reign, Love and Marriage franchise, whatever, blah, blah, now the own franchises and all of that. He was an he was the EP on Real Housewives of New Jersey. So a lot of people know him from Real Housewives of Atlanta, But
he started
he
with
was
both
actually
New Jersey and Atlanta.
Yeah, he did New Jersey as well. And so he was like, he was under the table when Teresa like flipped the table. Like the prostitution horror moment.
Prostitution.
So I don't know if he was actually physically under the table, but he makes it seem like he was. So all of that to say, Carlos has the real inside scoop to New Jersey. Go ahead, continue.
Yes. So like, I remember, because I haven't watched the Jersey cast in a very long time. I feel like the last season I watched was when Caroline was still on. And then after she left, I know it's been a long time.
Wow.
Like, I was
years.
not watching. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I just kind of, because Caroline left, Jacqueline left, all the originals, and I was like, I'm cool. Well, Dina was never released. She was on the first season, and then she wasn't there the second season.
You know
then
what?
She came back 2 seasons later.
Listen, I love me a boring housewife. I think that's my vibe, and it's probably because I'm boring. Like, I would be a boring housewife. I'm not boring.
But Dina wasn't boring. She just didn't have no desire to be putting her business on Front Street, which is why she left it. She said as much.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not boring in real life, but if you were to like put a camera near me and like record my life, it would come across as very boring. But it's because I would be like shut down for the camera. But like everybody knows me, and I'm a good time when it's time to be a good time. So
we need to have a good time reunion shit.
You know, so I love me a boring housewife. I love me a Robin before this season. I love me a Dina, because Dina was just like, girl, I'm gonna just come and collect my check and be boring and be a mess. I love
and
me
talk a little mess and drop a little tea and then go on about my business.
Light tea. And who's my favorite in Miami? Julia. I love me a Julia. I love the boring girls. I love them.
Julia? Oh, the Russian lady.
I love me a Julia. Just does weird shit from time to time. She shows up with her eggs, and because she has chickens, so she'll show up with her basket of eggs at every function. They be like, why is she carrying eggs? I love me a boring housewife. So Dina was my girl, but
Dina was my favorite too.
Here's the thing that I feel,
and then Teresa after Dina left.
Teresa drives me crazy. Teresa drives me nuts. She drives me crazy.
Teresa, I haven't watched in so long, so I can't tell you about all the other stuff, but like having some background context for all the beef that has ensued since the Gorgas got on the show, it make a lot of sense to me. And
Teresa doesn't drive me crazy because of her beef with Melissa. Like, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't like to see her and Joe fighting, but like, I'm gonna come back to this, but like her and Melissa thing, they don't vibe, and that's fine. But
I'm still like bothered by this idea that like you came on the show to start all this controversy. Like,
okay, I get that.
Because you were trying to get on the show. Yeah. And it's like Teresa said in that conversation with Carlos King, I'll try to link it to this, but she basically was just kind of like, you know, if they had said that, yo, we really want to be a part of the show, blah, 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 I would have found a way to bring them on. But she also stated that like her biggest fear, and she said it after the drama when she flipped the table, she didn't want to be perceived a certain way. And then she also was like, that she was concerned about, you know, bringing my family on. Like, I don't want what was happening to the Manzos to happen to her and her family. 100%. And it ended up happening.
And she fell out with her cousins too, with the Wakilis.
Yeah, Kathy, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and Rosie, like that, they're not.
They don't speak at all. She doesn't talk to any of her family.
And now you have Joe and the
American people, but like everybody else is still in Italy.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Teresa drives me crazy because she's just so illogical, and like she is quintessential housewife because the goalpost is always moving and she is completely illogical. Like, and then she'll try to justify it and just be like, girl, what are you talking about? That is exactly the same thing that you just did. What are you talking about? Like, that does not make sense. She drives me crazy. But so the big sticking point, it seems like, for this season is going to be that Teresa has excluded. Well, she didn't exclude. Well, I don't think she actually excluded Joe and Melissa, but
to the wedding.
She invited
Melissa
to
was not a bridesmaid. Whereas Louis' sisters were. But it's like, girl, what? Like, I still don't understand if we are related. like through marriage, and you and I don't get along, why the hell would you expect to be in my wedding?
Which is where I was going. I'm like, why did Melissa think that she was entitled to that? Second of all,
why does her husband think that? That's the other thing, because he mad about it too. And I'm like, it make sense. These women don't like each other. Why? 100%. Why?
But also, the other thing that's getting on my nerves is like, it feels like to me, Teresa is like, look, I'm 50. I've been through a lot. I found this man
after a whole lot of chaos and crazy.
Not only that, like whatever you feel about him, shout out to Brooke Ashley, because I don't tend to think that it was accident that they met.
Wait a minute, give me some tea. I don't know this. What you talking about?
Okay, so the Brooke Ashley, and I tend to agree with her. Basically, Louis and Teresa met because Louis was at one of Teresa's haunts. I feel like at her beach house or something, on the Jersey Shore or something. I can't remember the exact details, but they met because she was someplace that she always is, and it seemed like he hunted her out. So the Brooke Ashley is always like, Teresa, you need to watch out, and I tend to agree with her. Like, this might not have been just a serendipitous meeting. Like, nah, I think he was hunting Teresa out.
I mean, okay, I hear you. But sometimes people do that if they have interest in a person, not necessarily like interest in, and people do that too. They want to be famous. No lies.
So yeah, but like, what
you put yourself in the arena of where a person is to see if y'all might, I've done it. So that's why I don't do the shit now, but I've done it.
Listen, I get it. I'm just kind of like, but she just fell for a hook, line, and sinker. And I find Teresa to be a little bit kind of naive, a little bit of like, she just thinks the good in people. And I don't know. I just would have been asking a few more questions. And then before we could get on track, she didn't ask enough questions for me. Anyways, I don't even remember where I was going, but she and Louis. Oh, no, I was saying that I think that Teresa's just at a point where she's like, look, I'm not getting ready to play nice with you anymore, Melissa. We don't like each other. Like, we don't see eye to eye. You're family, so I'm going to invite you to the wedding. But no, I'm not going to invite you to be in the close mix of the people who I'm close with. And she's obviously very close with Louis' family. And, Joe and Melissa feel a certain way about it. But it's like, yeah, y'all are still family, but like y'all have been back and forth and at each other's throats the entire time. And yes, the entire time we've been seeing y'all on TV, like y'all got into fisticuffs the first time she was, Melissa was even on the show. And also they've been back and forth. Last season, it was like the Teresa gang versus the Melissa gang. So like, why did you think that you were going to be invited to be her bridesmaid? Like, y'all don't like each other. Why do you think
that you deserve to be a part? And why do you want to?
Why do you want to? Y'all don't even like each other.
It doesn't make any sense. Like,
y'all don't even like each other.
I feel like I would have more understanding if you was mad because you weren't invited to any of the functions.
Absolutely.
You weren't invited to the wedding. You weren't, you know what I'm saying? But
you weren't invited to the birthday party. You weren't invited to anything. And it's like, you were invited, but like, let's be honest.
All those things, but you're not going to be a part of the wedding. No, girl.
And like, I understand, but I would have even understood if Joe was mad of like, I'm your only brother and you didn't tell Louis to put me in his party. I would understand that. But Melissa, girl, like, she's what? Girl.
Like it's giving you think that you have more stature and status in our like familial bloodline than you do.
And like, I get it. They've been married for 100 years, but Teresa and Melissa don't ever seem like they have gotten along. Maybe past
and
their original meeting when they hung out at the Jersey Shore and like hung out at the party when they were young. But like, beyond that, they don't look like they've ever been great friends.
No. And my thing is like, what I'm not going to do is force myself upon somebody else's family because I'm 100%. Married to this man. I'm not going to do that. You don't rock with me, baby. That's okay. You don't have to. And that's all right.
I'm going to show up because your brother is,
you are my husband's sister.
You're my sister-in-law. My kids are your nieces and nephews, and we're good.
Like, I don't understand all these extra expectations of how you think things should be. And because she talks about, you know, like loyalty and all this kind of foolishness, like, so be it. She has no loyalty to you.
And I think that's where I think it gets confused. But I think that's where it gets confused, though, and why Teresa drives me crazy, because she's like, you're my sister-in-law. You're supposed to be loyal to me. Like, you're my sister-in-law. And it's just like, girl, but you're not loyal to her either. So, like, relax. No, that's where Teresa drives me crazy, because I'm on Teresa's side. And
like,
then she takes a hard right. Yeah, you like takes a hard right. And you're like, girl, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense.
Like, make it make sense. Tell us what's computing up there, because the rest of us is not catching up.
No, Teresa, that don't make no sense. So
that's for me, like, Teresa is still like, I'm still team Teresa, even if she be illogical sometimes. I think that with this situation between her brother and her sister-in-law, I hate that they are in the place that they're in, considering that their parents are gone and that they don't really have any other family here. They are small family like my own. So, like, I hate that they're in that position. But then at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I get it. I understand it, because I was there with my own sibling.
But not to mention that, and I mean, this is maybe terrible to say, but it's nothing like having your blood family. But I think that Teresa and Joe need to keep their relationship away from Melissa and Louie. Teresa and Joe need to have their relationship and their brother-sister bond. And as far as an extended family is concerned, Joe has Melissa and her family. Teresa has Louie and his family. Y'all don't have to be.
It don't have to be all this extra, like, we loyal to each other. No, I'm not gonna. You haven't been loyal to me. I have not been loyal to you. There's no reason for us to try to enforce loyalty on one another. Like, my loyalty aligns with my freaking brother and his kids.
Yeah. Period.
That's it.
Period. Real quick, Frank and Dolores. You know, Dolores is my favorite. Again, I love me a boring housewife. I think Dolores is pretty. I mean, she's not as boring as the other ones, but she's still pretty boring. Like, Dolores just shows up and defends Teresa and gets her surgeries and moves on with her life. But
hello, let's pause before you keep on going. I just smack myself straight in the face. But yeah, let's talk about Dolores's booty.
It was a lot. It was a lot. I was like, Dolores, you kind of overdone that one.
Girl, I was like, where did she get all this tail from?
She got surgery. She's honest about it.
I know that. But I'm saying, like, why would we get tail this much if you ain't never had tail before? Like, this don't make no sense, girl. This looks like surgery body.
Yeah, it does. And like, she was tipping over Dolores. The scale into surgery body already, and now she's there.
She's on there for real. I'm like, what is all this tail? And what I don't understand is, like, well, I do understand it. You finally got to a place where you got a whole lot of money. You can do whatever the hell you want with your money. Cool, check, got it. But it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why change something so drastic about your appearance?
And she's in great shape, even beyond like getting surgery. She's in great shape.
Yeah.
So she didn't need to do all that, honestly.
No.
I understand a little nip and tuck on your face. Jesus Christ. But anyways, so Dolores, her new boyfriend is not okay with all the canoodling with Frank and hanging out with Frank and shit.
He don't like the go along to get along as it's been. He's not with it.
And so Frank, as of the last, well, we have an episode about this, so I'm gonna link that in the cards. And as of the reunion, Frank was living with Dolores' ex. So
yeah, he has like serious medical issues.
Oh,
so yeah, because in this episode they were talking about how he was in the hospital because his bowels stopped working or whatever, and so he had been there for a couple of days. Yeah, so I'm like, in the previous season, whenever he was living with her ex, he had some sort of serious medical issue. Then
he had foot surgery. I think he had done something to his foot, so he needed some. Well, that was the explanation. He needed something where he could be on the ground floor, and Dolores had stairs. So Frank had a downstairs. I'm not Frank. David had a downstairs master, and Frank stayed there. And then, of course, David's a doctor, so he was taking care of Frank. So it's so funny to me that
cute.
That David is kind of like, he's kind of like, I don't know. To me, it speaks to Dolores's character that she just keeps these men around, and they still want to be a part of the family, regardless of whether they're not anymore. Like David is still
I don't know that that's a bad thing. I think
little Frankie was studying for his GMAT. He was living at David's house to study for his GMAT. Frank lived there when he had his surgery. Now he's living there because Dolores had to put him out because she got a new man that's not with it. And it's just like, this is a mess.
Wait, he's back at David's house?
He's at David's house.
Girl,
he's been living with David. He has a girlfriend, and Dolores says that she likes the girlfriend, but he has a girlfriend, but he lives at David's house.
I mean, but it's a fucking crazy setup, right? It's weird, right? But like, I do appreciate that they just was like, we're all family. This is how it operates, you know, like Dolores and I are together, and you're Dolores's ex, you're the father of the kids. Cool, we're all family. Like, I just, in a perfect world, that's like chef's kiss. Yeah. But I know that's not how it really works. And so
it's not going well with you guys.
Paulie, right? Paulie? I don't know, whatever. He just is not for it. And so Dolores is like, in her confessionals, I've never had anybody ask me or put it down in that way. Like, I'm not doing this with you. Like, so I think she's intrigued by the bossism of it all, but I don't know that she's gonna stand for that for so long.
Because also Frank is like her person. Frank is her emotional support person. So it's like, they were married, but also emotional support. By the way, Bravo Docket has a few episodes on Housewives of New Jersey. They have an episode on the Manzos. They have several episodes with the Giudices, with the whole Teresa thing, but don't go back that far. The Manzos one is very recent. And they also had an episode on Frank, and he was a lawyer, and he got disbarred for doing way less than what Tom Girardi did. So they had like a compare and contrast episode between Frank and Tom Girardi. So y'all know I love the Bravo Docket over here. So
I'm curious. Well, you know what? Maybe we can have like a one-off conversation about like, you know, like off TV tea, because that's literally the stuff that we be coming to the reality recap with sometimes, or at least me.
Yeah. So I'll drop those in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description box if I'm writing it down, so I should remember. But yes, Bravo Docket. Cool.
Well, y'all, it's almost about an hour. So if you've been here to the end of this here stream, then we appreciate you and we thank you. Please drop down your opinions about all the shows that we talked about. And also let us know what else you're watching. Understandably, we're in like a lull period of the year, so there's not a whole lot to watch, but we appreciate suggestions.
And I'm happy to drop some stuff that I'm watching, to be honest, if y'all want us to pick something else up.
Please tell us. So, of course, as always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next week with the reality recap.
Bye. Later.